Welcome to episode 84 of the Leap Home, Trilogy Pt.2.
In this week's episode, Sam returns to Louisiana and finds his daughter Abigail has grown from a creepy 10-year-old into an understandably confused young woman groomed by the predatory Will Kinman following the death of her father 11 years earlier. As Will, Sam must now prevent a lynch mob from executing Abigail for a murder she didn't commit. But with his own infatuation clouding his judgment, can he get through to the angry villagers in time? Or will Abigail's story end here?
Holding her and touching her and tasting her and smelling her. I feel like she belongs to me.
Good evening, Ian.
Good evening, Gerry. Is that an experience you've had yourself?
Not recently, no, thankfully. This episode continues from last week. There are so many issues, so many problems, and I think we are hitting peak Sam creepiness, peak Sam inappropriateness.
There's certainly an underlying ick factor throughout this entire
it's
episode.
Disgusting. We have laboured this point over the course of the 4.5 seasons or so, but I think we do need to mention it again that Sam, you would think, is portrayed as romantic and lovable. The character, that is. Yes. I think back then you're meant to watch this show and think, oh, isn't he nice? Look, he's so kind and caring. Yeah. He's obviously a creep. Yeah, well, we've got this sort of angle where we're meant to view him as having pure intentions and being, it's a romantic aspect. If he falls in love, it's pure and romantic and it should be celebrated. But that's not the way things are portrayed on the screen. No, he's just a horrible wronging. In many episodes, not always. There's consent issues as well in this one. Yeah, I would agree. Which we'll get to. And before we do get to that, do you want to give us the socials very quickly? Everyone knows them off by heart now. Yeah. It's at Leap Home Podcast on Twitter, etc. TheLeapHome.com for your show notes and background information on the actors and so on. And if you're impatient, if you want to hear next week's episode already, it's there on the Columbo Podcast Productions YouTube channel where you can like, subscribe and ring that bell. Smash the bell for notifications. Please do. That would be beneficial to all. Anything else you want to say? No. Let's crack on. I think, is there a slightly different version of the intro than what we saw at the end last week? Even if there is, it's got the same icky, uncomfortable theme and feeling here. Where do we find Sam? We literally find him inside his 10-year-old daughter. Which he realises himself as Marie from the previous episode bursts in, now 10, 11 years older, calling them rabbits and reminding them that their wedding is the next day, saying Abigail's father would be rolling in his grave. So we're established here, Clayton's dead. Sam has flashbacks at this point, which weren't at the end of last week's episode, realising who he is. He's Will Kinman, the young doctor's son. And he remembers having met Will before, having discussed his family history with Will before and the rumours that Will believed. And then when he hears Abigail's name, he reacts again, but does not stop what he's doing. No, he's a very eager and enthusiastic participant in this behaviour. Yes. Now, we, again, I think have mentioned in the past, jokingly, but in this case, it's fact. Last week we didn't make a note of it. So Clayton, yes, died in the fire. Yeah, he must have leapt back into quite unfortunate circumstances underneath a burning bit of wood. Would Al give him a heads up and say, listen, this isn't going to be good, just bite down and do it? So he goes back, he's chilling in the waiting room. Yeah, because as far as he knows, he left on duty, they're investigating a murder. And he's dead. He's leaping back into his own death. That's horrific. Yeah, it's grim. Very. And I don't think it's addressed enough in the show. It's not addressed at all. Sam doesn't say, oh, that's a terrible fate for him. Yeah, because Sam doesn't think about other people sometimes. Most of the time. It's a really horrific way to go. Yeah, no, absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal. So we get the opening credits now, and then we get a long recap of part 1, which we don't need to go back over. We return to Sam, who has eventually decided that he better leave, and we see it's when? 14th of June 1966. As he gets dressed, Abby asks him to promise he will be hers forever, and he agrees that he will never leave her. Yes, she's quite hyper at this point, and Marie shouts up, giving Sam 30 seconds to get away. Yeah, now this isn't the last time we hear him make commitments that Will have to honour. Yeah, so he says he'll never leave her. How does he know? I think he's talking about himself.
which is scandalous. Why are you doing this, Sam?
No,
Remember
absolutely.
who you are and why you're here. What he said there is, I will never leave you. Obviously, he doesn't want to say, he's not wanting to commit to being hers.
Well, it's his usual thing where he doesn't really know what Will would think. He doesn't want to make a commitment on
But he
Will's
does,
behalf.
but what he says
what
here,
he says is just as bad.
He may as well just say yes, I promise.
Yeah, and nobody means these things anyway when they say them.
Of course not. But he does seem to have done his usual thing and has already fallen for her, as we see him holding her face before Marie turns to, as you mentioned, hustle him out. So it's clear now that Sam's being creepy Sam.
Yes, definitely. Marie threatens to call his mother on his way out the door, and once he's gone, we see Abigail throw herself back on the bed laughing.
Yes, well, I think she shouts her love for him out the window.
She bounces over to the window and yells that she loves him, and Marie slams it shut and calls her a wicked child.
Yeah, certainly was last week.
Well, she's not really wicked nor a child, as she points out herself.
Well, I'm not sure about the wicked pie. She's not a child, that's for sure.
Yeah. And tomorrow she says she's going to be, and then we get Will's full name, Mrs. Willis Gunnarsson Kinman.
The deputy's wife, she will be. They giggle, so I think Marie's obviously doesn't want them to be together, but she's not unhappy with the relationship.
She's not wanting them to break norms, social norms, but she's quite happy that once they get married, everything will be okay.
We catch up with Sam walking along the street, and for some reason, I think it's probably to demonstrate that he now has a stutter.
He's got Will's stutter and he's reflecting out loud on being back in the same town.
Why walk about talking out loud to yourself?
Importantly, remembering how he saved Abigail when he was her father.
Yeah, it's so inappropriate.
So he wonders why he's back here as well when he's obviously saved everybody that he needed to save back in the day.
Which annoys Al, who doesn't like him talking to himself. That's a bit late for that concern.
Yeah, he doesn't have any problem when he's the one that he's being talked to.
Yeah. But Sam has realised that Clayton is dead and then goes full on creep mode, which I think even Al is not comfortable with.
She's incredible, Al. Her eyes and her face and her hair, the way it smells, and her skin. When
Okay. Whoa, cowboy. I know you
Oh,
leaped
boy.
in here in sort of intimate circumstances, but you gotta be careful.
Careful.
Well, listen to yourself. It's Will that's in love with Abigail, not Sam.
I know that. She's so beautiful, Al. When you
It's, okay. It's June 14th, 1966, and you've leaped back into Pottersville, Louisiana, and that's all we've got right now.
It's 11 years later. Abigail's 21.
That's right, and Will is 27.
I feel like I'm 27. I feel like I'm 17. I'm getting married tomorrow.
No, Will is
Will
getting married.
is getting
I gotta get you
married.
out of here.
I belong here.
You got me worried big time.
What are you worried
all right,
about?
Gushy, let's get to work on this. Sam, do me a favor.
What?
Stay away from Abigail. Okay?
Okay.
When even Al is quite obviously concerned and thinks you're a bit of a creep, you need to sort of take stock of what you're doing.
You do. We follow this up with what I've noted is the most disturbing voiceover of the series so far.
Okay.
Sam declares that it's been 11 years and Abigail has grown from a frightened child into a glorious woman. So he's reflecting on when he was her father and she was 10 years old and how he now thinks she's gorgeous.
Yeah. And Al's earlier request is clearly absurd. He admits that.
Yeah. Why would he want to stay away from someone like this?
As we heard there, he's now at the church or going to the church.
Yes.
I thought they're actually in the church.
Well, I don't think so. I think they're getting prepared at the house. Well, maybe it's the back room of the church. I don't know.
He straightens his tie as Abby herself enters looking for a kiss and is not worried about the bad luck that this is meant to bring.
Yeah, what's the worst that could happen?
Sam stutters out creepy compliments, and I think it's unfortunate the stutter, as we heard in the clip, just makes it sound...
It sounds like heavy breathing.
Yeah,
It's unfortunate for him.
it is.
I feel bad.
Marie, I think, enters at this point and chastises them for this interaction.
At this point, following Marie is Sheriff Lohman, who wants to speak to Will, but asks Abigail to hang around because there's a problem that concerns her.
Al has also appeared and tells Sam that they do have a problem. What is this?
Well, he tells Sam they're going to have a witch hunt on their hands.
Why?
Well, Loman fills us in. The 7-year-old boy that Abigail was childminding the day before has gone missing, and she was the last one to see him.
She's the wrong one. I mean, I don't care what you say here. She's constantly involved in child problems.
But as she points out, she wasn't the last one to see him.
Well, yeah, we find that out, because I think her parents... Well, we'll get there.
Well, so she says right now she wasn't the last one to see him, and Sam confirms that...
No, well, if she's a murderer, she would say that. You can't take that for...
She would, but we get confirmation later on that she was not the last one to see him. Anyhow, Sam confirms that they were together, and Marie verifies that up until midnight they were together, and then Sam left. And then thereafter, presumably, Abigail and Marie were together.
Yeah, even at this point, I've noted here, Bo, the sheriff, doesn't say when he went missing.
No.
So Sam starts saying, she was with me all night, but...
it could have been earlier. Yeah.
However, she does admit that she babysat for the boy, but insists that she left at 9:30 after the is it Takins?
Takins or Takins, I'm not 100% sure.
Family, that the parents came home.
They paid her and she left.
Yeah, but apparently he was jealous of Sam. He's a kid with a
This 7-year-old boy, this is a bit weird.
Yeah, and went up to his bedroom at 8:45 in a huff. This is what Abby says.
Yes. Al suggests to Sam that he gets everyone to hold fire until the boy is found.
However, RC Abbey is not up for postponing their wedding.
Well, Sheriff Loman's made a really weird suggestion that they all go over and talk to the parents. But that is an odd thing to suggest.
Is it? She was the last person to see Heaton Sam's the sheriff.
Yeah, well, the sheriff and Sam should be speaking separately to the parents and to Abigail. They shouldn't all be in one room.
Probably not. But at this stage, if she's not been accused... they're friends, they know, I was there, let's just chat this through. What happened? Unless there is an accusation right now that she's done something.
I found that the demeanour of the sheriff was a little bit weird at this point. Anyway,
possibly.
Yeah, as you say, Abigail doesn't want to postpone the wedding. However, Loman points out that half of the guests have already headed over to his office to help with the search.
Before Marie unhelpfully advises that they better start believing in bad luck.
It's like, bad luck believes in her.
Shut up, you. It's not helping anyone right now.
It really isn't. Sam tells Abigail it's okay, they're going to find the boy and then they're going to get married. So she leaves and Sam asks Al what's happened, or what's going to happen.
Yes, the whole town is out for blood, and the following night they attempt to hang her. They don't succeed with the rope, but on the upside she does get shot in the back.
And killed, yes. He's got that information because Will wrote a letter to the New Orleans Gazette after it happened. We get a short shot of the town where folk are milling around looking agitated.
I like that town. I'd like to live there for a little while.
Would you?
Yeah.
It seems awfully hot.
I wouldn't mind. It's at a certain time of the year, probably not peak season with humidity and what have you, but yeah.
When it's cooler.
A little bit cooler, yeah. So we're at the sheriff office, and with the people of the town gathering outside, Mrs. Takins tells Bo that she found her son crying as Sam and Abby listened in. So
we know that after she left, he was still there.
Yes.
She says that, and when I say she, Mrs. Takins says that a young boy shouldn't be reacting to an adult woman in that way, which is kind of irrelevant.
Yeah. The father, he angrily claims that he knew his son had a crush on her before the mother spits out that...
Do you think he was angry? I thought he was trying to be the more reasonable of the two.
Well, he is the more reasonable, but I think he is still angry.
Okay.
Yeah, and the mother, she spits out that the child claimed Abby was his only friend.
And there's a bit of a disconnect here between what the child's told his mother and what he's told Abigail.
Yeah, she doesn't accept that he had no friends, and then gets more upset when Abby revealed that he was teased by the other kids as they owned the funeral parlour and apparently smelled of dead people. And I can believe that. I mean, if you were the local undertaker's son, you probably would get a little bit of teasing.
Yeah, you'd need to develop a thick skin, wouldn't you? Sam, first of all, Mrs. Tickins says that's a lie, which is, she has no basis for saying that. Mm-hmm. And Sam then says, well, kids are cruel, that's what kids will be like.
But she demands to know where he is. But instead of understanding her distress, Abby victim blames and accuses the parents of being the reason why he ran away.
Well, she gets defensive because she feels attacked.
But I don't think
so she lashes out.
They haven't at the moment.
Well, no, what the woman has said to her is if she knows so much about their son, why doesn't she tell her where he is? Which is, and the tone as well is quite accusatory.
True, but again, she's not, same with Lita. She hasn't been able to accept that, she's very upset and distressed. Her son is missing.
Abigail doesn't do that. She's not really big on empathy, I don't think.
No, not at all. They end up trading quite personal insults, and Sam and Bo try to calm things down, but Abby can't let it lie and claims that she needs to learn about being a mother. She's just a terrible person. She's not...
She's just upset. This isn't...
thought out.
I know, but she's at no point. What we've seen last week with the child Abby who wants to kill people, and then this selfish one who's would rather get married over finding the local missing kid who she knew. It's not a stranger. It's not like saying, well.
But I think that if the Takens had come in and been less aggressive towards her, she would have been sympathetic.
Maybe, but again, I'm happy to accept that they are acting unreasonably under these circumstances.
Yeah, and she's reacted badly to that, but that's an emotional response. It's not a character flaw.
Well, again, her character, I'm only going with what I'm seeing, and her character isn't particularly pleasant.
Okay.
She's a weirdo.
Sam gets everybody to sit down, and Mr. Taken says they didn't realise that Purvis was gone. That's the boy. Until
I just call him the boy. I'm not calling him Purvis. It's a stupid name.
Purvis Taken.
Well, I've not even thought about that. Taken. The boy was taken.
Purvis Taken was taken. Taken? It's like the police squad sketch.
Yeah.
Anyway, he didn't realise that his son was gone until he didn't show for breakfast, and confirms that he had no friends to call him.
Oh, sorry. We also missed a part as well where Mrs. Takens has a right go at Abby by saying that I hope you never have kids because they'll end up as crazy as you.
Oh, I thought that's what you meant when you said the trade.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought that's what you meant when you said the trade personal insults.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, because Abigail had said that he wouldn't have to run away if the parents had spent more time with him and stuff like that. Anyhow, yes, Sam asks, this is the most stupid question of all, whether they've searched their house.
Yeah, the dad says, yeah, we did have a look.
You've also got Loman here questioning Will's personality change. Which is an interesting one.
Yeah. Mrs. Takens tells them that he was last seen in his pyjamas, and when Sam suggests that she go home and see if he's taken any of his favourite clothes, she assures him he didn't have such things, clothes weren't something.
Yeah. And yet again, she's shown to be out of touch with her own child, because Abigail is able to point out a jacket that he loved that she had gifted him from a holiday, and Mr. Taken is able to confirm that even though Mrs. Taken threw it in the garbage, he was made by the son to pull it back out, and he had been keeping it.
Yeah, under his toy chest. So now, a bit beaten down, Mrs. Takens accepts that she has to go and check, but does leave with a threat to Abby should anything happen to him.
Well, yeah, but so the reason for checking for this is if he's taken it, that means he wasn't kidnapped and he ran away.
Yeah, I'm not sure why, other than perhaps her past, like why you would think that Abby was involved, because
they've seen him since she left.
Yeah, so what are you suggesting that she's come back and abducted him?
And they obviously trusted her enough to be the babysitter up until that point.
Yeah.
Well, I know. I wonder if they're maybe suggesting that he's run away to her and then something's happened after that. But it's not really spelled out.
No.
The sheriff at this point wants to arrange search parties. However, Abigail is still kind of caught up in her own business and worries about the wedding. Yeah,
and he has to sort of sternly point out that she better start thinking about the child and that she can get married any day. I think that's right. At this point, listen, Abby, just forget your wedding. It's not happening.
Yeah, I think in this setting where you probably could just get married the next day or whatever. Nowadays, when you're spending thousands and thousands of pounds on a wedding, okay, you can understand sort of thing.
They're using they can do it literally any day. It's doesn't have a wedding. Even then, you can have two weddings.
She's not losing her deposit.
Anyway, so Bo leaves, and as Abby moans that people are looking at her like they did when she was a kid, Sam has a flashback to Lita in the flames as he sees her approach from outside.
Yes, and he starts raving about how she started the fire and she tried to kill Abigail, but Abigail doesn't want to go through it again because nobody believed her at the time and it doesn't matter anymore.
And she's more worried that they won't end up together. However, Sam insists that they will have a beautiful wedding, and after they kiss, what follows is one of the most disgusting scenes in television history.
Tell you something wonderful.
I like wonderful.
Last night, when we made love, at first, I thought, this isn't right. I thought maybe all these years I'd been wrong about you and I. Then something happened.
What happened?
I know it was our first time and everything, but when we started, everything just seemed so wrong. And then, all of a sudden, you were different.
You're imagining things. I'm sure it was.
It was just wonderful. It was like in a magic flash. We fit, Will. I mean, our bodies, they were made to be together, as if we were meant to be in each other's arms for all time. I know you like I've never known anyone in my whole life. And I love you. I love you.
Why don't you call the church and tell the Reverend that we won't make it today? We won't make it today.
Okay. Will, come to me tonight. No matter what time, I'll wait for you.
Whoa, that was all sorts of wrong there.
I just threw up in my mouth.
Yeah. So, Will was crapping the sack.
So bad that she wanted to break up immediately as soon as he started.
Yes, not just that he was bad at sex, but it felt wrong.
It felt like it had been wrong forever.
Sam jumps in and gains an extra inch or whatever. Will's got to leap back in and be really bad at it again. That's just creepy and wrong.
Yeah, well, I think we understand that Will's not the one for her.
Yeah.
From this conversation.
Yeah.
I hope they don't let him hear this conversation, because that's going to really dent his ego quite badly. He's been grooming her for years, and this guy just shows up.
Yeah. She's a virgin as well, I think. So how does she know it was wrong? It's so bad. I don't even have anything to compare it with. It just feels wrong.
It just feels like the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
Oh, dear me, that made me feel a little bit queasy.
No, it was not good. I like the idea as well that the Reverend's been kept in a box somewhere and doesn't know what's going on. And they have to specifically go and tell him.
Anyway, Al heard all of this, and when Abby leaves, he insists that somehow she knows that Sam is someone else. Really?
Come on.
What?
She doesn't think that at all. She thinks it's Will. She's literally just said,
Yeah.
Well, she sensed a difference. Well, no doubt he probably moves differently and
Thrust in a certain way.
whatever, yeah.
Sam argues against this and is more concerned by the fate of the Takens boy, and is initially delighted to hear that he is found the next morning at 11 a.m.
Great news, everyone's happy.
Well, didn't say he was alive.
No, found alive, I think. It's implied he's alive.
Until, however, Al reminds him that Abby is killed that very night.
Yes, but that's okay, because they know he gets found, so they can just go and get him now.
Well, Sam thinks they can just inform Bo where he is, but Al doesn't know the precise location at this point.
What he says is he knows where he's going to be, or he will know where he's going to be found, but not where he is at the moment. And surely that's likely to be the same.
Yeah, I've also got a real big issue with the ending of this.
I'll talk about that as well, yeah.
In any case, Sam asks Al if he remembers Alita. He tells him that he just saw her, and that the people didn't believe Abby about the attack 11 years ago, and that she started the fire that killed Clayton.
Yeah, and for some reason he wants Al to go back and talk to Will and Ziggy about what happened. It's why? It's not helping him.
Well, Will was there that night and helped.
Yeah, but it wouldn't help him with the current issue. He just wants to know. Anyway.
We're at I'm going to call it the bayou. I think that's what it's called, isn't it?
I called it a creek, I think, in last week's episode. Yeah, it's the same one where the body was found at the start of last week's episode.
And through voiceover, Sam explains that he has to search for hours for the boy, even though he knows he's found the next day, as if he didn't, he himself would return to Abby.
Creep.
Yep. I can't. The urge, I can't. It'd also look bad as well. I'm not going to bother searching.
He'll be found. When that happens to everybody else later on.
Yeah.
So Sam is paired up with the father of the missing boy.
Yeah, and as they walk, Mr. Tackins admits that the last thing he wanted was to give his wife something else to gossip about, Abby. What, the last thing? No, the last thing should be your son being abducted and murdered.
Yeah. Initially when I saw this, I thought it was the lawyer and not him, but yeah.
No, he's saying, isn't this terrible? She's going to have something to gossip about.
She's always gossiping. And also my son might be dead.
He is then taken aback when he's handed water by Lita.
It must be tricky for her to be at the place where her husband's dead body was found.
Looking for another body.
Yeah. But no, she doesn't seem to have any concerns about that so much.
I think she is, but that's why she's there. She suggests that the wedding being postponed is a blessing considering Abby and her family's history of violence.
Yeah, she's as creepy as Abby.
Oh, yeah.
Or as creepy as the young Abigail. Mm-hmm. She tells Sam this has happened for a reason, and when he says the wedding has nothing to do with her, she says that, like her grandmother and her mother, Abigail is just crazy.
Yeah, she thinks that the whole Lanchette family is cursed and points to her husband and Violet as proof.
Sam refuses at this point to walk away from the conversation, which I thought was out of character slightly. Because he keeps coming back at her. He really doesn't like this woman.
Yeah, he argues that those deaths were due to dogs and a heart attack.
Yes, he says that blaming Abigail won't bring them back and they're in the past.
This irritates her, and she predicts a future of him fearing for his life and that of any future children, although that may not matter, as Abby will soon be sitting in the electric chair.
Sam tells her that the boy is alive.
Yeah, and asks her how she lives with the murder of Clayton.
She says that she's a bitter woman who's lost everything dear to her, but she did not set the fire, and he should ask Laura Fuller. She implied that Laura was there in the flames?
I don't know. Yeah.
That's a bit of an odd moment, because he had the vision of Laura being there, remember? It was definitely a vision, a hallucination, or a misinterpretation of seeing Lita.
Yeah. Is she suggesting that maybe Laura knew more about it and he had her locked
Laura
up?
wasn't there. Laura was already in the madhouse at that point.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
So maybe she's just implying, like, go and speak to Laura, you'll see how crazy she is.
Or
and
maybe,
they're all crazy.
Yeah, but maybe she thinks that the young Abigail has admitted it to Laura.
Maybe.
What she done?
I don't know.
Anyway, Sam does indeed go to the hospital.
This is bizarre. She just stops searching for this boy and says, oh, I'm away to visit my mother-in-law.
Yeah. Sam and Al turn up, and once more he wonders if Lita was right and Laura was at the house attempting to save Abby 11 years earlier.
She wasn't.
No, she wasn't.
She's bandaged up on this occasion.
Yeah, only her face shows, and instead of being in a trance, she is humming a tune and seems a little bit more lucid.
A little bit.
And so after reminding her that Abby was due to be married that morning, he asks for her help, and Laura whispers about her own mother and the deaths of, I think, her sisters. And as she cries, we begin to understand that she was severely depressed and in a terrible situation.
What did your mother do? Did she hurt the children?
Just there wasn't enough food. And Jesse, he was so little and he was so hungry.
God, she must have seen it all.
Rained all night. I love the rain. We used to sleep with Sadie and Mary Lou. And I'd always fall in the crack and roll under the bed.
That's how your mother missed you.
I thought that it was raindrops that I was feeling fall on my hand. You tell Abigail, you tell her that that's why I couldn't come home. Clayton said that I'd hurt her. You gonna keep her safe. Now, that's what you came back for, isn't it?
What do you mean, why I came back?
She knows you're not Will.
How do you know that I'm...
She really needs you.
Unfortunately, the two of them have very different ideas of what needs you means.
Or what needs they have. Yeah, Al in any case tells him that she is right and he has to get back to town and put a guard on Abby's house.
Sam doesn't want to do that, though.
No.
He thinks this must be something else. He's in trouble because he personally now is so attracted to Abigail that he can't think of anything else. We heard at the top of the show how literally insane he is.
Yeah, he's a weirdo, but why does he not want to protect her then?
I don't know. He just thinks something's going on here.
Yeah, he says that he feels like she belongs to him. And even Al is freaked out by this behaviour, but tries to pull him together and remind him who he really is and why he is there.
He says it's not fair, and Al agrees. That's just the way life is. He's a hero, and that's his lot. And Sam says even heroes need to have sex with their daughter.
Yeah, and at this point, Sam leaves.
Through what appears to be a cupboard door.
Okay.
And Laura looks over at Al.
Yeah, she stares directly at him.
Sam decides to run into town.
Yes, with his floppy style. and bursts back into Abby's house and calls her name. And after staring at her standing on the stairs, he runs up and pushes her up against the wall. I was expecting a Gene Triplehorn scene from Basic Instinct here.
Were you?
Yeah. If you know, you know.
I think this is the scene that I have the most problems with.
Yeah, he then carries her to the bedroom for a good seeing too.
Yeah, as Sam.
Yes.
Without telling her he's Sam.
Yeah.
So there's a huge consent issue here.
Massive, yeah.
She thinks she's, sleeping with Will and she's not.
Yeah, because normally he's playing the part of the leapee,
Yes.
so he can sort of get away with it, especially if she's the instigator. But in this case, he now knows this is just for his gratification.
Personal benefit. He's taking advantage of her.
Yeah.
And not giving her... I mean, maybe she would consent to that. Who knows? Probably not. It's her own dad. But... we get a shot of the moon, which is, I think, some kind of shorthand for them having sex.
Yeah, a long time it took, a long time. But later that night, as they lie in each other's arms, things take an incredible turn as half the town burst into the room, smack Sam unconscious with a bit of a shotgun, and then carry off the screaming Abby.
Yeah, and on their way from the bedroom to the square, they put a dressing gown on her.
Quite right, modesty. A frantic Al tries to stir Sam a little later and warns him that he has changed history and they are going to hang her if he doesn't manage to stop them.
In the town square, Lita Ader's whipping the crowd up and asking how many of their children have to die before they can see justice done.
Back in the bedroom, Sam is still out as a panicking Al finds out that Abby will die in 15 minutes and Sam might not wake in time. So he gets Gushy to centre him on her, I don't know why, and screams at him to find a way to find the kid.
This reminds us obviously of the end of The Leap Home at the start of season 4 where they had Al unconscious.
Yeah, and also there was a lynching in the gay episode.
Yes, the lynching in that, a fake lynching on that occasion.
Yes.
So after a good yelling at, Sam wakes up earlier than expected and has now shaken off Will and his stutter through the sheer force of sex.
Yeah. Well, I think before that, mind you, we see Lita again stirring the crowd even more by claiming that Abby has used spells like a witch while everyone shouts and threatens her. And I think they've kicked her to the ground and they stop her from standing up.
Yes, we're back and forth between these two locations. And at this point, the lawyer who I thought we saw earlier now rolls into town and tries to talk reason to the mob.
Yeah, he cannot believe what he sees. I think Lita is now literally spitting hatred at her.
And the crowd is with her.
He orders them to let her go and points out that the boy is missing, not dead.
Yes, but when he goes to help Abigail up from the ground, they knock him out with the barrel of a gun.
Yeah, he demands that they hand her over to him.
Yes.
And legal process will take place.
But no.
No.
At this point, I thought was unintentionally hilarious. A woman just shows up with a noose. It's like as if she had it in her backyard waiting for... And we see Sam stumbling around, but not quite making it. It seems to take him a lot longer to get there than it took them to drag her there.
And of course, it's another episode with Sam with his top off.
Of course, he likes that.
Yeah,
normally he's directing it when that happens.
Now, the noose is put around Abby's neck.
Yes.
But when he turns up, he is also attacked by, I think it's the same guy.
The bearded guy with the gun, yes.
Yeah, Stanton. This time, however, Sam is able to fight back and appears to be getting the better of the crowd until Mr. Tackins fires a shot into the air.
There you go, Will. Get out of the way.
I can't.
You've got no choice.
I got the same choice you do. To commit a murder or not. And I'm not about to let you take the life of an innocent woman.
She's a murderer!
Prove it! Let the courts prove it!
That woman is a cold-blooded killer.
She's not a killer, and neither are you.
She killed my son.
I say your son's alive.
He's alive!
If you hang her, and he turns up, how are you going to live with her murder on your head for the rest of your life? You people are murderers? You're good, decent people with families and children.
Children that she kills.
Listen to me, listen to me! No, if she's right, and Purvis is dead, then we'll turn Abigail over to the state sheriff's office tomorrow for trial.
What about justice?
That is justice.
Justice! Like the justice her daddy held over my Violet when he closed the files on her, only this time, when they don't find that little boy's body, it won't be her daddy who closes the case, but it'll be her husband.
Tell him to give you 5 hours.
Listen to me. Give me 5 hours. 5 hours. If we haven't found Purvis, and I'll turn her over to you.
No.
Oh, Sam,
Will, in God's name, no, Will!
Listen to me. You gotta trust me. You gotta trust me.
Kill her!
No! We won't kill her!
She killed your son. She killed him like she killed my Violet.
Your boy's not dead.
He's lying. You have got to kill her.
He's my little boy. And I don't want her murder on my head.
Okay. Burn the bitch. What's Sam saying that if we don't find her, we'll turn her over the next day for trial? That's not how it works.
No.
You have to be charged first. There has to be reasonable evidence that she has been involved in this crime.
Yeah, there's no proof of that.
If you go to the DA, they'll look at it and say, no, there's nothing to suggest
That's
that.
what Sam's plan is. Yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Until the end of him, he says, we'll hand her over to you. And I'm pretty sure at that point she's thinking of divorce before they even get married.
Yeah.
I like the fact that Sam made the clearly wrong statement that they are good and reasonable people.
No, if he hadn't turned up, she was dead.
Yeah, they're completely unreasonable, irrational people.
Out of control.
Although
Yeah.
you probably shouldn't say that.
No.
Right, this next bit is dubious. Mr. Tacken asks Sam where Purvis is. Why would he think Sam would know? For a
Yep.
start. But then getting the info from Al, Sam tells him, which makes him look like he kidnapped
That's
him.
exactly what I've noted here. This now looks like you were involved in this somehow. You've kidnapped, you're holding him somewhere. You look a little bit like you're a double act like Myra Hindley and, some sort of duo of child killers.
You're only confessing where he is because she's been caught, essentially.
Yeah, you've been holding him, doing God knows what. What's your plans and intentions?
There's a good chance he'll get charged because of this.
Of course. Well,
He ought to be charged.
Who would know? Even if he didn't do it, I mean, why would you know that and then not give that information up
Yeah,
beforehand?
how long have you been holding that information? How did you know that? Yeah, but serious questions to answer.
You would find him guilty. And I don't think that would be unreasonable based on that knowledge.
Even if the child said, no, I ran here myself,
Yeah.
I still think that the evidence against Will at this point, having made this confession, essentially,
Yeah.
he'll go to prison.
It gets even more ridiculous. When Tackens asks the obvious question, how do you know that? Sam says, does it matter?
Yes,
it matters a massive amount. Only
It's this sort of Sam's usual hand-wavy thing. Oh yeah, I just knew. It's like, so often he's going to get these people into trouble.
Yes.
By revealing things that they couldn't possibly know.
Yep. And this is
And
the
just
most...
expects folk to buy it.
Yeah.
As if they're all morons.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. He says that they'll stay there. Go and find him, and we'll stay here until you confirm that he's okay.
Lita's not happy with this conclusion, though.
No. Mr. Tackens has handed the gun to his wife, and he sets off to try and find the boy. But the crazed Lita grabs it from her and fires a shot which Sam and Abby have to jump out the way from.
Yep.
Before someone wrestles her or wrestles a gun from her, and she falls to the ground crying as it's like the end scene in a movie where the bully finally gets his comeuppance and his sidekicks all just go, yeah, that's out of order, and they walk away, leaving him on his own.
I mean, to be fair to Lita, she has had this sort of agenda against Abigail, but she did lose her daughter and her husband.
She should be charged there for attempted murder.
Yeah, but she's not exactly had an easy life. She's not just a standard bully who's picking on folk for no reason. She's genuinely bitter and upset over things that have happened.
Yeah, and Sam has just shown himself to be
A kidnapper,
yeah. At the very least.
Yeah. So Al tells Sam it's over, whatever that means in this context, and he then takes the opportunity to give a terrible speech.
Okay, so rather than preparing to leap, creepy Sam decides to declare his undying love for her. And this is awful as well for Will, that she should ignore anything that he might do or say in the future, as right now they belong to each other. F off, Sam.
This is way beyond whatever the code of leaping allows him to do.
It's dreadful.
And it's a sense of entitlement. It's like, she belongs, she doesn't even know who you are, and you're taking possession of her.
That's disgusting behaviour.
We've criticised Sam regularly on this podcast. People know sometimes a little bit excessively, but this is the worst thing he's ever done.
Sometimes it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek and a
The
little bit like...
necrophilia thing was bad, but this is the worst thing that he's ever done.
He's truly, yes, if you only watched this episode, or these 3 episodes, you could only come to the conclusion that Sam was a horrible character, a selfish character only after his own gratification.
Yes, and that was the purpose of the Quantum Leap project, to find himself vulnerable women to take advantage of. speaking of which, how convenient is it that the one thing he never remembers is that he has a wife?
Oh, yeah.
He remembers his childhood growing up. He remembers starting Quantum Leap. He remembers previous Leap. He remembers everything pretty much, like little gaps. But he doesn't remember that he's married and has a wife and a life together. Convenient.
Oh, yeah. Very, very. Anyway, they kiss and he leaps.
Yes, he arrives in a sort of an older man in glasses and realises he's back in Louisiana again because he looks like Colonel Sanders.
Yes, it's the 28th of July 1978. He's in Baton Rouge and he thinks the story isn't over, even though his memory is fading. He is confident that Abby has summoned him back, and when he looks in the mirror, he finds he's now the older version of lawyer Larry Stanton.
Yes, because he gets a flashback to emphasise that for us.
And things get worse when an amply caloried older woman with a lot of sass orders him as a southern rebel to go over there and melt her down while she pretends to be Jane Fonda in Butterfield 8.
She's very horny.
She's extremely thirsty, yes. I should say that Jane Fonda wasn't in Butterfield 8, it was Elizabeth Taylor.
Oh, fair enough. She doesn't care. She knows she's got her point across.
Yeah, unless, of course, this is a
alternate universe, which we've said it may well be. It has magic and stuff.
Yeah.
This reminded me a lot of the episode when he leapt into the brothel owner.
Yeah. Yes.
And the woman was coming on to him.
Yeah.
Sam's not comfortable with that sort of situation.
No, we get an old boy.
Yes. And that's the end.
Yeah.
He's an evil person.
He's a bad guy.
Irredeemably.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can say to justify any of the things he did in this episode.
No.
He's victimised that woman.
Yes.
Even though you don't like her very much, she's still...
Oh, yes, that doesn't mean...
She didn't kill the children. And
well, we don't know that.
No, we don't know that. She shouldn't kill that child.
No.
And she didn't deserve what Sam did to her.
No, of course not.
Also, none of it made any sense.
I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it was good fun. I like the setting. I like some of the characters.
Yeah.
It was a bit gross.
I mean, they're all quite appalling characters. There's none that are really...
Well, maybe Stanton's been up. Well, maybe
So
you're going
far.
to ruin him in this episode because Sam's getting to be him.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, Stanton seemed fine, but most of them they certainly had that.
Well, you've got the lynchers, you've got the creepy child that's grown up to be the creepy woman.
Yeah,
you've
Bo's a bit of a
the
loudmouth.
groomer, you've got the...
Yeah. But that's a good thing. I enjoy, hating these people.
Yeah, there are things to enjoy about the episode. It's just, if you're a fan of Sam and the Quantum Leap ethical code, then you're not going to enjoy what he's doing here.
But that's what we said. I think this just we've said this all along, and people might ignore it and might be able to in some way justify it. But if you watch these, you cannot justify it. And this is just his true personality amplified.
Are you supposed to see this as romantic?
I think so, yeah.
How?
I don't know. Well, he's always
Even
like
in
this.
the 90s, that's not how romance works.
Nah, he's obsessive. These days he would be a stalker. At the very least.
Or worse.
Worse, yeah. Oh, the type of guy, the type of guy who was after Holly Willoughby here in the UK
That
recently.
could be a dated reference by the time folk get to hear this.
You can look it up.
Yeah. Anyway, shall we get into the trivia?
Yeah, sure.
So it aired on the 24th of November 1992. Again, directed by James Whitmore Jr., 12th of his 15. Hear more about him in the podcast for Jimmy. Again, written by Deborah Pratt. Hear more about her in the episode for The Colour of Truth. Abigail, on this occasion, was played by Melora Hardin.
I recognised her, yeah.
First of 2 quantum leaps for her. She also appeared in things like Monk, Friends, The US Office, and The Bold Type. As a family connection, because her father Gerry was the dastardly Ed Saxton in the episode Roberto.
Oh.
She's now 57, still active. Mrs. Taken's played by Wendy Roby. Her only quantum leap. She's also in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, The Dentist 2, brace yourself, and most famously Twin Peaks. She's now 70, still acts, but mostly in the theatre. Mr. Taken's played by Christopher Curry. Again, his only quantum leap. He's also in the movie Sully. He's been in Glee, Starship Troopers, which is amazing, and Star Trek Voyager. He's now 75, also still active. Third time in 4 episodes that Sam's leapt into 1966. He hadn't done it before and he doesn't do it again. Interestingly, the show consulted with Ira Zimmerman of the National Stuttering Project to help Scott Bakula portray the condition sensitively during the episode. I'm surprised you in the apologies and corrections apologise for me saying that it was hard to listen to stuttering last week.
I just thought
You're leaving me to be exposed for that.
It spoke for itself.
I don't think anyone took offence to that. And if they did, then it'll take them a long time to complain. In terms of things that we learned, Sam is still a disgusting, selfish man, and even Al has firmer moral boundaries.
Also, on the date, Trailer Howard was born. She was in Monk.
Okay, well, another monkey.
Mm-hmm.
Monk. Is that what you call folk who are monk?
Monkers.
The Vatican ruled on that date that reading books from their banned list would no longer contravene church law, but would remain a sin.
Oh, well, there you go.
It was mostly philosophical text that countered religion as a reasonable way forward. And the next day, 15th of June, still part of this episode, President Lyndon Johnson's dog, which was called Him, very low effort name there, run over and killed at the White House.
Well, that's why you don't want to get too attached.
Well, so what about the music?
Okay, number one is in the UK, we had Strangers in the Night by Frank Sinatra, whilst in the US it was Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones. I feel like we've had that before.
Well, this is the third 1966 episode in 4 weeks, so yeah, I guess maybe we have. Next week, Sam has another opportunity to help Abigail as he leaps further along her timeline in The Last Door, otherwise known as Trilogy Part 3. So, we will see you in 1978.
Until then,
cheerio.
Bye-bye.